Week 17 of the NFL recap of what the heck are you drinking? Let's jump into it. The Houston Texans 11-5, the LA Chargers 11-5 as well. The Texans took the W in that one. The first quarter, the critics said that it was absolutely dynamic. Throughout the whole entire game, the Texans caused 5 sacks, and this is their third consecutive playoff berth. A lot of pressure on the QB that they put for the LA Chargers, and everyone was involved. So it was a lot of fun to watch them play. CJ Stroud did a great job, even had some of the rookies get involved. Jalen and Jaden, of course, two of the most common names that you find in the NBA and the NFL right now with this generation. They were able to come in and also make some plays, which is really nice. Currently, they are second in the AFC South, but we'll see what happens. The LA Chargers, however, did fight back, and they did keep the energy up so they could really try to fight in the second half. Just wasn't good enough. They ended up losing 16-20. So right now, they are still in the playoffs. We're going to see exactly where they land after week 18. So Texans and LA Chargers, we actually had a drink called the Texas Mule. Now, I am a mule fan because I feel like they're very easy to drink. They're great for people that don't really like vodka. They're also great for people who are looking for something that's ginger. On a scale of 1 to 17 with ginger, I love ginger beer. I'm about 17 or 18. So this is vodka, ginger beer, and jalapeno. So this Texas Mule really did give a lot of pepper, a lot of flavor, and we did see the Texans play that way. A lot of pepper, a lot of flavor, a lot of heat that they put on the quarterback with the LA Chargers. And at the end of the day, they ended up doing a great job. So Texans, great job. LA Chargers, we'll see what you do next week. And we're going to see what happens in week 18 to see exactly where you're going to land in your playoff berth, whether it will be home or away, or if you will end up getting the bye. Congratulations to both teams. Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, we know the Kansas City Chiefs will not be in the playoffs this year. They are eliminated, and it's honestly good to see some other teams. We know the history of Kansas City. Sure, they've been a great team, but they also had a lot of help from the refs of not making any calls for the past couple of years, minus 1 or 2 sprinkled here and there. And unfortunately, they have been plagued with a lot of injuries. So we hope that everybody gets well soon. They can recuperate from all their injuries, and they'll have a mediocre to strong season next year. However, the story here are the Denver Broncos. 13-3, AFC West champs, and they played from the first down to the last down right before the end of the game. They played well, they ended well, and it's been really good to see. Of course, they are an AFC team. My team is an AFC team as well. However, I hope that we will not have to meet. However, we'll see what happens. The drink that we had for their game was called the Americano. Of course, this has no American drinks there. However, it's Campari, sweet vermouth that coats the glass, club soda, and ice. Now, Campari can be naturally bitter, and the club soda helps to temper that bitterness in order for it to be slightly sweet. Similar to how the Broncos are coming off this year, I think that they can leave a bitter taste in someone's mouth because a lot of people don't bet on the Broncos. They have a lot of attitude. They have a lot of personality. And a lot of people have maybe not been enjoying them. However, I love seeing good football. Regardless if they're in my conference or not, I love seeing good football. And the Denver Broncos have played solid football all year long. So we'll see what happens during week 18, the last week before the playoffs. So good luck. The 49ers and the Chicago Bears. They were trading touchdowns all day long. 49ers 12-4, Chicago Bears 11-5. The Bears did take the L. So we do see one of the defining moments of the game was the very last drive. The defense was the 49ers, and they were able to cause an incomplete pass at the final play in order to beat the Bears. And Caleb Williams did such a great job commanding the field throughout the whole game, except for that time in the last part of the game. He was forced out of pocket. It was just short and didn't quite make it. So what does this mean for the 49ers and for the Chicago Bears that won? So right now, the 49ers have to beat Seattle for a bye week, and they'll be the NFC West champs. And of course, for the Bears, right now they have to beat the Lions in order to seal a number 2 seed. So we'll see what happens this upcoming week 18. So in honor of the 49ers taking this W, we had an odd drink that's not really my favorite type of drink, but I'm here to try all things that I need it, for my tests and also to be able to recommend it to people as I'm working in the hospitality sector. So we did a California milk punch that has lemon, pineapple, green tea, brandy, Jamaican rum. I had clover, coriander, cinnamon, and also milk. Put me straight to sleep. A little bit on the sweet side. I was a little bit on the warm side due to the rum and just honestly the type of liquor in there with brandy that kind of just warms up your body. It's very cozy. And the 49ers really did serve a little gut punch to the Chicago Bears in the final play in order to win the game. And also a little bit of the milk, give somebody a little milk when they need to go to sleep. And the Chicago Bears needed to rest. And next week in week 18 to come full throttle in order for them to get what they need and beat the Lions and the 49ers as well in order for them to beat Seattle. So we'll see what happens in week 18. Good luck to both teams. Amazing football. Keep it up. Really enjoyable to watch. The 49ers Cleveland Browns, 4-12. Pittsburgh Steelers, 9-7. Of course, this game has been controversial. There was a lot of talk about scripting in week 16 due to the fact that the Steelers are playing an in-conference game and division game against the Browns, and the Steelers are notorious for losing to teams that they should beat. Of course, week 18, the Steelers play the Ravens, and to create the drama, some are saying that it is scripted. However, fact of the matter is, regardless of how it happened, the Steelers did not end up making the plays, and they ended up losing. They did not play a full 4 quarters of football. Offense was sloppy. Defense was sloppy. A lot of little mistakes, even though they had the momentum. However, the Browns did end up playing well, and they ended up just playing, I don't want to say harder, but they were able to make the plays that mattered for them to win. Both teams did their best for that week, and we will see what happens. So due to the scripting and due to the question marks that we have with the league, with it being an entertainment. And of course, Roger Goodell has been accused of doing some things in order to create the drama within the league, in order to take the fun out of it. And not only that, but to really not take into account the fans or the teams due to higher ratings or due to have higher ratings. Of course, do your due diligence. We will just say what we saw on screen. Steelers didn't complete what they needed to, and the Browns did. So the drink that we drink is called Flip the Script. It's Irish whiskey, stout beer, maple syrup, egg whites, and Orinoco bitters. So this is one of those drinks that are a little sweet, a little bit creamy. If you have a sensitive stomach, definitely don't recommend it. If you have a sensitive stomach as well or high blood pressure, it's been very tough to watch the Steelers games this season, as well as seeing how Shador had been treated. Does give me an upset stomach due to the coach there that for some reason decides to start winning at the end of the season, where you would think they would lose, right? So that they can have a better area coming up to the draft of next year. So very questionable in the Browns' tactic, of course, divisional game. They always want to beat the Steelers. I get it. However, the drink was fitting for it. We'll see what happens in week 18. The Browns, of course, are eliminated. They will not be in the playoffs. Steelers need to beat the Ravens in order to be the AFC North champions, and of course to have a playoff berth that will be most likely on the road. However, we will see what happens. So thanks again for a great drink. And due to the controversial matter, I guess let's just see what happens next week. A little on the fence about it. Cleveland Browns, 4-12. Pittsburgh Steelers, 9-7. Of course, Indianapolis Colts, 8-8. Jacksonville Jags, 12-4. The Colts are now eliminated. They are not going to be in the playoffs. So hopefully now Granddaddy Rivers can go ahead and take a seat and think about what teams or what channel he wants to commentate on or join ESPN or something and just let it go. He had a great run. He's like 86 years old. Like, let's just let it go. Trevor Lawrence, however, had a dynamic game. AFC South champs ran in for 2 scores this past game, and this is their 7th straight win. So we are exactly super excited to see them play because they're playing like, why not us? Why not us? Let's go ahead and do this. And you can see how the team has gelled together, which I mentioned in previous weeks. But they're having a lot of fun. But we can tell that their focus is there, and they're really working hard to not only be committed to the game and committed to their fans, but committed to playing good football, which I feel like we haven't really seen as often as we would like. So it's really exciting to see the Jacksonville Jags do their thing. So in honor of them, we did have a Jaegerita. which there are two versions that you can have. Jägermeister, Contro, lime juice, and simple syrup is the first version. And the second one is going to be Reposado tequila, pineapple juice, blue curacao, simple syrup, and also lime juice. Either drink is going to be delicious. Either drink is easy. Makes you want to go to the beach. Jacksonville's not far from the beach. So we're very excited to see what they're going to do in week 18. Hopefully they're going to rest some of their key players, let some of the other younger players get some reps in so they can be ready and prepared for the playoffs. So Jacksonville Jags, let's see what you do in week 18, and excited to see in the playoffs. Colts, better luck next year. Granddaddy Rivers, give it a break, and tell Aaron Rodgers that he needs to go too, because, we're just tired. Just let the younger guys just go ahead and play. And again, thank you for a great drink, and we'll see what you guys do in the upcoming weeks. Buffalo Bills, 11-5. Eagles, 11-5. The Eagles won by 1 point. The first half, the Eagles were 10-0. They really did take it. Their offense and their defense were on fire. The second half belonged to the Bills. They were really able to just run up and take their time going up the field. However, at the end of the game, for them to try to make it work, they decided to do a little flippy-roo. They were able to get first down. However, 2 seconds left in the game, they tried an onside kick, and Eagles said, not today. We're going to go ahead and get it. So I am a Pennsylvania girl. Whenever my team is not winning, I will always cheer for my NFC counterpart within my state, and that is definitely going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. So that being said, we had this amazing drink, one of my favorite drinks that I've had all season, which is called On the Wings of an Eagle, which is created by a Philadelphia bartender. So it has Fernet Branca, which is a bitter Amaro, cognac, rye whiskey, and green chartreuse, and rounded up by lemon bitters. So rye whiskey adds a little bit of heat to it towards the end. The cognac really warms you up and gives you that little romance to it. Green chartreuse, of course, is made by Monks, and it is not as easy to find. Very delicious. It has the tinge of sweetness. It's a liqueur. And then the Fernet Branca, this Amaro has 27 herbs, spices, and roots, which gives it such a unique, herbaceous, full taste. And it was just really wonderful to drink. Just like it was wonderful to see the Eagles win, and wonderful to see Josh Allen yell in frustration because he lost. And I appreciate that, because they didn't knock the Steelers out a couple years ago, 2 years in a row of the playoffs. So with that being said, great game. Let's see what happens in week 18, who they're going to rest in order for them to be ready for the playoffs starting very soon. So great drink, great games. Good luck next week. Appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in to week 17 of What the Heck Are You Drinking? We had some amazing drinks. We are excited for week 18 to see what teams are going to do well, which teams are going to rest, and exactly who is going to end where with the playoff berth. So thank you again. And this is What the Heck Are You Drinking? Week 17 NFL recap. And we'll see you next week.